discussion, I wanted to take time to introduce the two of you. So first is Pam Wilson, also known as the breast cancer warrior. Pam Wilson was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer on April 28th, 2021. She is currently in active treatment, but is grateful to be using her journey to help inspire and educate others. After treatment, she plans to lead a life filled with breast cancer advocacy. Pam believes that early detection, relationship building, a positive mindset, and her faith have been essential components to her breast cancer battle. Pam has been an educator for 15 years. Her passion for meeting the needs of her students from an emotional and educational standpoint are apparent throughout her work. She has written and published 3 children's books and is currently completing a book series to document her breast cancer journey. She resides in Maryland, where she runs a screen printing and embroidery business with her husband. Pam's 2 sons and 2 bonus daughters provide her with the wealth of inspiration and motivation to keep fighting her breast cancer battle. Thank you, Pam. Next is Nancy Barber. Nancy is grateful to be an 8-year breast cancer survivor. She is excited to be an angel advocate she is excited to be an angel advocacy program trainer through Tiger Lily Foundation and loves working alongside fellow advocates. Nancy is a believer in early detection and asking for help, something she failed to do during her cancer journey. Nancy has over 30 years of experience in the information technology industry as a skilled lead in project, accounts, and problem management, and lives in Ashburn with her husband and daughter. So thank you, ladies, for joining me tonight and my audience. Let's just jump in there. I really want to share with the audience about your personal journeys. So Pam, you are current, you're going through your journey now. As I mentioned, you were diagnosed in April of this year. Could you share a little bit about your journey, you know, how you were diagnosed, the type that you have, family history, any of that?
Yes, absolutely. So good evening, everyone. Nicole, thanks so much for having me. Yes, so I was diagnosed, like Nicole said, on April 28th, 2021. I was 40 at the time. And I do not have any, so I did all the testing and I do not have any family history. The only reason I was diagnosed was because I went to my OBGYN and she said, hey, you're 40 and you know what that means? And I was like, what? And she said, it's time for your mammogram. And I'm like, oh, okay, sounds great. And so I did not feel a lump or anything prior to my diagnosis. After getting my mammogram and the ultrasound, they determined I had a 9.5 centimeter mass that I did not actually feel. 2 biopsies later, they determined it was triple negative. Initially, they thought that I had DCIS, which would be considered stage 0. But after further, like I said, the second biopsy, my doctor wasn't convinced. And so I think that's one of the things I'm truly blessed about, just having a team that was actually fighting for me, because I know that's not always the case, even to the point where they took my case to a conference because they wanted to ensure that they were giving me the correct treatment, because although my breast cancer was acting like a triple negative, the biopsies were saying a different thing. So that's kind of how mine had, and I've actually already had surgery. I actually had a lumpectomy initially, which also was what helped them to determine that I actually had triple negative. But you know, we're fighting. I'm just truly thankful for this opportunity. I know I hear a lot of women say that, you know, this isn't necessarily a group that they want to be part of, but when they become part of it, they're truly thankful that they are. And I have to wholeheartedly agree. The women that I have come across during this battle have really just helped me push forward and given me so much information and so much just hope throughout this entire process. So yeah, so that's where I am right now. I only have 6 more rounds of chemo left, praise Jehovah. I'm so excited about that. And then I will have a bilateral mastectomy and reconstruction. So I still have a ways to go on my journey, but I'm just thankful to have gotten this far and thankful for all the support of my friends and loved ones and women who did not even know me prior to this journey.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Pam. Nancy, your story is a little different. Can you share a little bit about your story?
Yeah, and thank you, Pam. Wonderful story, and your journey as you continue that, and we continue to pray for you.
Thank
So
you.
for me, mine was found early detection. In December of 2012, I went in for a mammogram, and I went in for the mammogram because I was sitting at an event with a woman next to me who had breast cancer, who was a survivor, and she said, I encourage everyone at this table to get mammograms. And at the time, I wasn't, you're not paying attention. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I'll work on that. And so I was diagnosed at 50 years old, actually. So I December 2012, I had the mammogram. I was asked to come back because they saw something and I needed to have a biopsy. And I didn't go back until February because I'm hard-headed. I went back in February of 2013 and I was diagnosed with, so I was the DCIS that you were talking about earlier. And it's 1 in 5 women are diagnosed with that form because, at that point, it's early detection, considered early detection. So I did have to have a partial mastectomy in May of 2013. So everything happened really fast, and we'll talk a little bit more about that after, when I found out in February that I was, that I did have cancer, and then getting to the point of the surgery. But I had to have a partial mastectomy. I did breast reconstruction because with the early stage that mine was, they could go in and get the part of the cancer that was, they could take that part and not have to worry about other areas, but it also made my breast smaller. So I had breast reconstruction to get the other side. And then the scars are still there. I had to have radiation. I didn't have to have chemo. I love to tell people that, getting those mammograms every year, at least you potentially could find out early enough that your treatment may not be as bad. So that's mine for now.
Okay, so both of y'all kind of shared a bit about your treatment process. Would you like to share some of the obstacles that you may have faced and then how you're overcoming them? Pam, you can go first.
Okay. So for me, it was, because no one in my family or really anyone that I knew personally had been through breast cancer or had to go through chemotherapy. I was just doing research. And so research can be your friend and also can be your enemy, right? So, through that, obstacles, there was so I've had 2 different sets of chemotherapy. There's one that they refer to as the AC, which was my first set, which was for 8 weeks. And because of the dosage and how potent it is, they could only give it to me every 2 weeks. And that was my most intense time frame from chemotherapy. I think the traditional things that people may see on TV or hear about, that was what I was experiencing during that time frame. And now I am on the other side with 2 other drugs that are called Taxol and Carboplatin, which are, I don't want to say less potent, but that's what my doctors have referred to them as. And so I have kind of just learned by talking to other people that are going through the journey, things that worked for them. What I also found is what works for one person may not work for someone else. So even though I've gotten lots of tips, that I just kind of had to keep trying things until I found what really worked for me. And honestly, the positive mindset and my faith have been what have really pushed me through all of the obstacles because chemotherapy is not fun. And even though there's different types of chemotherapy, even prior to me having this, as soon as I was diagnosed, one of the things, if anyone ever has to go through this, you'll find people kind of run towards you and want to help, right? So they want to give advice. My uncle had this, my aunt had that, and everyone wants to be extremely helpful. One of the things I did not know prior to this is that there are multiple types of chemotherapy. So it's one thing when someone says they're diagnosed with cancer, we can't just assume that everyone is going to be getting the same medication because that is definitely not the case. Even more specifically when it comes to breast cancer. So yes, just having a support system, my faith, a positive mindset, those all are things that have helped push through all those obstacles.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll say everything that Pam said, except so for me, I think the hardest part was you don't know what's going to happen next. So you're
Mhm.
diagnosed, and then they give you this. I had this notebook of all the doctors I had to see because there's different people that do different things as part of the treatment. So I think it was just scary listening to all that. And I will say, if anyone goes through this too, you take a friend with you. My friend went with me, my best friend, and she was able to ask questions because I'm just sitting there going, what I don't get it, you know. So it's just a scary thing, the obstacles that you have to go through, and just thinking about those things, but and your process that you have to do because everything has to fall in line, right? So the only thing I will say, definitely my faith got me through, obviously. That's something that, you know, and because I was diagnosed early, it was a 99% chance of survival. So I had a friend a year before me who had stage 4, and she had gone through so much in that year, and it just scared me when they said that, you know, just having to go through it. But I knew that mine would be a journey that where I could help others to with the early detection, which I always say over and over. But yeah, that was it.
So I heard both of you talk about your mindset and the encouragement around yourself. Were there other things that I guess you discovered about yourself as you've gone through this journey?
So I guess I'll start this time, Pam. I think it's really just the first part was that my breasts mean more than I thought. You know how you think
Mhm.
as a woman, you go through life and, you know, this is your body. And to think that you're losing that part of you, um, it's just very personal and kind of scary it was. But I think for me, it's just, I guess I'd say my self-discovery was that I was stronger than I thought. You know, I really, it's crazy because I've been cancer-free since 2013. So I think it's scary now, like whenever I get a pain or anything like that. So I have to learn to push through and know that I'm going to be okay. So, and I get my mammograms every year now, obviously.
How about you, Pam? Any self-discoveries during this time?
Um, I did discover the importance of allowing others to help me. I'm so used to always trying to help everyone else and being, you know, wanting to give. And this is a time where I had to be in one of the, someone gave me that advice early on. And it wasn't until I was in the midst of it, realizing that I have to be willing to accept help because I can only do so much. You know, I have 4 kids and a husband and a couple jobs. So, you know, the reality of the situation is my life was already hectic. And I think, like Nancy mentioned before, I don't think you realize at least for me, with the chemotherapy, with how it actually affected my body, I've never felt fatigue like this before. Like this was something completely new to me. And I had to allow myself to say, okay, you know, this is part of what I have to go through. I'm going to be able to make it through this, and accept that this was a stage, you know, that I was in, and just be able to kind of look towards the future with that. So being willing to help, being willing to allow other people to help me, but then also accepting, and there's a part, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but for me, there's still a grieving part to this, right? Because the Pam that I
Yes.
was will never be again. So I had to be okay with accepting that, you know what, the pre-breast cancer Pam is no longer in existence. But the post-breast cancer Pam is so much better. And I'm so much more excited about everything that is going to happen, you know, even as I move forward in all the lives that I'll be able to help. So I think those are all key components. And I did want to throw in there real quick, as you were talking about appointments, my husband actually started recording our doctor's visits. So just a tip for anyone else that's going through, that was a life changer. One, we couldn't spell half the things they were saying. And two, like she said, we were overwhelmed with all of the information. And so by having those recordings, not only were we able to listen to them again, but I had some people in my family who were part of the medical profession. I could kind of send them to them and get some insight as well. So that was just a little tidbit I didn't want to forget to mention later.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
I was asked about that. I'm sorry, Nancy, go ahead.
No, I was going to say one thing that Pam also mentioned was, you know, we're used to doing everything ourselves and not getting help. I needed help, and that was one lesson I learned. I did not ask for help at all. And I have 3 sisters, and they wanted to visit me, and I was like, no, I'm good. I can handle this. And later, I actually felt bad about that because I could have used the help. I could have used, you know, just somebody to sit and talk to me and things like that. And of course, I had people that brought me food, brought my family food because we were, you know, you didn't have that opportunity. So things like that. But I think a lesson to learn through any type of cancer is to take the help that people offer you.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to say that.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask about those who are helping or encouraging their loved ones through this time. What would be your recommendation or encouragement for them? So I know, Nancy, you just mentioned some of that, and Pam as well, but is there anything else that you would suggest for those who are supporting others that are going through this journey?
I think being open with communication is key. Just like in any relationship, we are, you know, as I'm going through this, right, I have to be mindful that my family and friends are going through it with me. Even though they're not feeling the things that I'm feeling, they're still going through a grieving process as well. And what I've learned is, even as far as my husband, you know, we have conversations, he's like, I don't want to say the wrong thing because I do, you know, the chemo, it has its effects on you, and I'm just emotional all overall. And so I think sometimes he's afraid, you know, okay, there, and not just him, but I think people in general don't know what to say, right? Because you're like, I have breast cancer, so what's next? You know what I mean? Like, people don't know, is that automatically associated with, you know, fatality? Like, where are you in the journey? They don't know what to say or how you feel. And so I think just being open with your caregivers, because I've told him, I'm like, sometimes, honestly, I don't even need you to say anything to me. I just need you to hug me or just sit next to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Not too tight of a hug,
funny. Though. Right. Like, you know, we don't have to talk about this, because please believe I talk about this on a regular basis. And so I think as a caregiver, just be willing to ask the question, what can I do for you? Is it okay if I sit here and watch a movie with you? Do you want to X, Y, and Z? You know, that type of thing, just to even help get our minds off of what is happening. So that would be my suggestion.
Awesome. Nancy, you have anything you want to share? Anything else?
No, more than that, than I said, just making sure that, I did think about, so I said, take the help, but also if you're someone who has a friend going through it, offer to just sit with them, offer to, like my friend offered to go to appointments with me. I did radiation alone, and I mean, I was okay because I'm a loner and I didn't mind that so much. But every time I walked in there, I kind of got a tear in my eye, you know, because I'm like, I got to lay here, and, you know, you lay down and they do the radiation, and then you get up and you walk out, and then you're weak afterwards. So you're sleeping and things like that. But I just think you just need the help, you know, just offer any help that you can to people. Food, just a helping hand, anything, especially food, because you're not feeling like cooking, that's for sure.
So this will be a good time to talk about resources. There are tons of resources out there. I know Pam had talked about how when she first was diagnosed, she went to the interweb. You know, sometimes it's encouraging, sometimes discouraging. Could y'all share some of the resources, whether it's a nonprofit? And Nancy will take some moments to really delve into Tiger Lily. But what resources did you find helpful? Pam, you can share yours first.
Oh, okay. Well, and what I did mention is the first place I actually went to was social media, and I just literally searched the hashtag breast cancer, and I actually came across a young lady in the UK. And once again, like I have about 5 or 6, I see some of them are actually on here, 5 or 6 women who are all either have finished their, you know, breast cancer fight, or are currently in a fight, or even in their second fight. And those women became they just became family to me. We literally were helping each other, and that was a huge resource for me. I know you guys are going to jump into Tiger Lily, but I have to just say that they were huge for me too. You know, I was able to go on the website and just dig more, you know, get tons of information. There's a YouTube video. The first video that I really watched was called The Four Black Docs. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it was actually through Beyond Life Beyond Cancer. They had done a video and they broke down every part of breast cancer, and they had the radiation specialist, the surgical oncologist, the medical oncologist. All these doctors were there, and this was before I had even gone in for my major first appointment. And I just felt so enlightened after seeing this video, because I actually had an idea of what I was going to be hearing, and things weren't foreign to me. But you know, those were just the resources. But like I said, and then of course, I know you'll go more into Tiger Lily Foundation, but those were some of the things that really just helped me from a resource perspective.
Awesome. Nancy, if you want to share other resources, you can do so, but or we can go ahead and start talking about Tiger Lily. You are an angel advocate within the training program. So could you share with the audience first who Tiger Lily is, and then your part in the organization?
Yes, and so Mama Carmo, who's in the Northern Virginia area, started Tiger Lily Foundation. And her role, what they try to do with the foundation is to help women going through breast cancer. And she really tries to focus on young people even. So, you know, as young as 18 are diagnosed with breast cancer. And actually there's been a video circulating online that Tiger Lily is doing this month that shows a 14-year-old. Mm-hmm. So a lot of what she tries to do, Tiger Lily does so much, and I became a trainer for angel advocates about 4 months ago. So I've done a cohort already. So if people can just Google Tiger Lily Foundation, but the resources are videos online, interviews of people. There are things to read, different resources that you can use. So just, and part of the Angel Advocate program is for people that have been through cancer, because then you're able to help others. And it's also, a lot of the Angel Advocates are people that had people in their family who had gone through breast cancer. So they're not just someone who's gone through it, but someone who's part of a family of people that have. So just looking at the resources, they have so many things. It's hard to say on a call like this, but definitely anything you could possibly want, Mema has thought about and is working with people on it on her website.
Do they provide like tangible like transportation and food, things like that during the treatment?
Yeah, they do have different resources like that, things that can help you if you're someone who needs help. They also have people they can call, because they're all over the United States. The people that I trained some of them were in Texas, some in California. So people are all over. And if you need the help, they can find that help. Even if they don't have it within them, they know the resources in the communities that they serve.
Awesome. Well, we're coming to the end of our discussion. If anyone has any questions, if you could put those in the chat. I want to thank these ladies for joining me today. As I mentioned at the beginning, we have partnered with Pam, I Am Battle Ready. That is her handle on Instagram, as she documents her breast cancer journey, and Tiger Lily Foundation. And as you all know, I am a leather designer. So this month, at least through the end of this year, we'll have earrings that myself and Pam collaborated with.
Nice.
Trying to show you here. This is actually very special to Pam. This is actually Pam's, a part of her logo. So it is a cancer ribbon, but it also has the shape of a letter P for Pam. So this is one of the pieces from our collaboration, and a portion of those proceeds will go to Tiger Lily Foundation. Like I said, they'll be available at least through the end of this year. So if you're interested in that, you can look in my bio on Instagram or head over to my website, Soko Creations. Ladies, do you have anything else that you would like to share with the audience tonight?
One thing I wanted to say was I did not have a family history of breast cancer. So I do have family members that have had cancer, but not breast cancer. So it was probably one of the last things I thought. And I will say, when I had my biopsy and my doctor was trying to call me, which is Dr. Crow in Fairfax, Loudon, when she was trying to call me to tell me that I was positive, I didn't even answer the phone because I said, oh, I don't have cancer. I don't need to answer that call. So I do want to say to people, make sure that you aren't afraid of the answer, go forward and try to, and at least make the activity. So you got your mammogram. If they call you back, go back and get the biopsy. And then when the work has to happen for your surgery and things like that, just follow up and make sure that you do that.
Right. Thanks for sharing, ladies. I have not had my first mammogram yet because I'm 39. So next year I'll be 40. So I'll be, scheduling my first one. So I'm just grateful that you two have been able to share your journey. For people just like for myself, the ones that have not embarked on that yet, to even just go to see. So, if, you never know what type of information you'll receive when you go to the doctor, but knowing that we have this information, the resources are out there. Like you said, Pam, there's a community of individuals. We talk about women a lot, but there also are men out there that have experiences as well. But just knowing that you have somebody that can walk with you through this journey is very encouraging. So thank you so much. Before we end, I'd like to end with some fun questions. And so I think I'm gonna give y'all two. So the first one is, if you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why? And either one of you can share first.
I think mine would be make memories. And I think this process has definitely taught me that I'm no longer focusing on material things. Not that I was ever very materialistic anyways, but I just realized that all we have at the end of the day is our memories. And so I would just encourage everyone just to make memories. Let that be your focus, enjoying spending time with your family. So yep, that would be my billboard, make memories.
Awesome.
So mine, I think, would be don't be afraid of the journey. So don't be afraid to get tested. I kind of said it before. Don't be afraid to go forward and do what you need to do to get your diagnosis and make it through it, or even a diagnosis that you don't have it, which is also good.
Awesome. And the final question. If you could choose only one song to play every time you walked in the room for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So I'll go first. Mine is Just Fine by Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
See, I should have had it queued up so I could have played it.
I know. How about you, Pam?
I like that one. I think I would play Favor by Kirk Franklin. I've been listening to that a lot lately, and I definitely feel like that's how I'm operating right now. I'm operating in favor. So
awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. Thank you, audience. If you have any questions following this, just send me a DM and I'll get you in communication with Pam and Nancy. And with that, I want to thank you again and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.